All right. So again, welcome. So to begin, I love to always start with an arrival practice. Before we go into any anatomy or physiology or get into the cognitive stuff, it's important that we get a sense of arriving into our space, into our body, into what's happening within our body. So I'm going to invite you to either locate something around you like the ground or somewhere on your body that gives you a sense of landing or anchoring. So I might touch my chair, I might touch the earth, I might touch somewhere specific on my body. And I might touch multiple things like the earth and my body. And wherever you chose in this moment, bringing your attention to it. There's some quality or something about what you chose to touch that elicits a sense of landing or grounding or anchoring. We're tuning in to whatever quality that is, the vibe of that. The vibe of that grounding, anchoring. And if you're touching an object or the earth, perhaps noticing if it's okay, how your body, how you resonate with that vibe of the earth or of the object. Can any part of you begin to resonate or match that vibration, that quality of grounding, of landing? And if you're touching your body, how can the rest of your body respond to the quality of where you're touching? Staying with that, whatever it is in your body, you're trying to match what you're touching of the earth or objects around you, or letting the rest of your body respond to where you're touching on your own body. Staying with this for another minute. In other words, can the whole of you, or as much of you as possible, land, arrive? Arrive into this body, and into what's present in this body, whether that's sensation or feelings, thoughts, even impulses of movement. Arriving into what's present within you. Greeting whatever is present within you, like saying hello to a thought or to a sensation or feeling. Noticing if that greeting, that acknowledgement of whatever is here allows you to arrive that much more. Or to settle more easily inside yourself. It doesn't have to, it's just a question. And from wherever you are, just noticing how much more present or landed or arrived you are into this moment or into your body. And then beginning to extend that sense of arrival or presence as you begin to attune and orient to the space around you, perhaps to the sounds of your space. In the same way you greeted the sensations or feelings or thoughts of your body, you're also greeting the sounds of the space. Greeting the temperature or the texture of the air around you. And greeting the smells. And as your eyes begin to open, you're greeting the light and the shapes and the colors of your space. If there's any movement that wants to come as another way of greeting your surroundings, or even just acknowledging what's inside you, just invite, if it feels right, any movement. Good. And you're welcome to begin to find your orientation back to the screen. You can always keep moving The agency is yours if you feel like you need to keep moving or doing whatever you need to do during the session, during the master class. Yeah. So I want to make this as interactive as possible. Let's write into the chat box just some of the things that emerged for you. What was that like for you, that arrival? Because that's going to play into our whole discussion on stress buffering. So you might write be like a few words or sentence. No need per se for an essay. So challenging at first, and then it felt good. Felt like filling up internally, waves of presence. The softening, then distracted, then deeper understanding of self. Yeah, it took a few moments to land, and then it felt like a little break for your nervous system. Great. There was safety in there, became aware of sensations in the body that you weren't necessarily aware of before. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, varieties of texture of grounding, that it wasn't just one thing, that it actually had nuance to it, that sense of grounding. It was a moment of breath of relief, of finally, soothing qualities. Great. And, I said something in that practice that I want to kind of look at for just a moment, which is the experience of landing more in ourself, is it easeful? And what I mean by that is not the same as what we find internally is easy. Yeah, or pleasant is another way of saying that. So can the connection to ourself be more easeful, and the ability to be here be more easeful, even when the contents of what is here is not easeful? Does that make sense? Yeah, because that's a big piece about stress buffering. We kind of want to be here. So there's a big difference, and we'll talk about what buffering is in a minute. There's a big difference between buffering and disconnecting from something that's arising within us that might feel like a bit of a strain. Yeah. So we want to start with that clear differential. Buffering is not disconnection or disassociation from a stimulus or from a experience within us. Buffering starts with being able to attend to ourselves and what is within ourselves. Yeah. To make something more tolerable, we want to be here to not only address what's here, but to also recognize when it's more tolerable. Yeah. Because if it's more tolerable, that means we can be more in relationship to what's here and engage with it and navigate it, which is the kind of the whole point of stress buffering. Yeah, so that we don't get overwhelmed, and that we're able to still attend to what's happening. Yeah. All right. So let's begin, because this is a session on stress buffering. And I think, as some of you who've studied with me before, I tend not to give the definition of stress until either never or later on. And the reason for that is we all come in with our own interpretation and associations of what stress is and isn't. And that's more important to me in any time I teach than it is for me to lecture at you what it is. Although we might discover additional concepts of stress later on. So I want us to write into the chat box just like a really brief definition. It could be a few words, could be a sentence of what stress is for you. Yeah. Because if we're going to be buffering something, we kind of want to know what it is that we're buffering. So let's start with that, right? So take a minute, even if you don't write into the chat box, write it for yourself. What is stress for you? Not what is stressful for you, which is different. We'll get into that later. But what is stress? So some friends said losing balance, feeling overwhelmed, strain, uneasiness, ungroundedness, activated sympathetic nervous system, overstimulation, the absence of breath, body tension, the reaction to something that feels challenging or threatening. Good. Inability to adapt to what's going on, feeling like it's too hard for me. Yeah, big load in the system, an agitation in my body. Okay, great. So let's move to the next question, which is why might we want to buffer it? And I'll give a little experiential definition of buffering in a minute. Yeah, but why might we? And buffering can be a very particular word in English. So for those of us who English isn't even our first language, we're going to define it. But for those who are kind of have some familiar sense of what buffering might be, why might we want to buffer stress? I kind of named it before, but it's a helpful thought for all of us to engage in. So it feels like we're all exploring together. Yeah, so maybe write that in. You won't be wrong. That's the good news. To normalize it, sure. So that it doesn't feel so big, great answers. Because too much of cortisol or anything won't help anyone. To prevent toxicity in the body, cool. So we have more choice and awareness around it. Great. To be able to be reactive or responsive. To be able to carry on and not be overwhelmed by the overwhelm. So that we can attend to ourselves. Yeah, all of these are good answers. Great. So I think we're done here. I'll see you tomorrow. Just kidding. Good. Great answers. And so I would love to lead us in a short practice to sort of give a sort of meta concept of buffering. Yeah. And so I'm going to have you write down like 2 or 3 things that are stressful. Nothing on it, like on a scale of 0 to 10, nothing on a 10 for right now for us. Maybe like 4s. Yeah, maybe 5 at the most. Just for this practice. Okay. Take another 30 seconds or so. And if me rushing you is stressful, just write that down. Again, just 2 or 3 things. It's good. Okay. Can you get a thumbs up? We have 2 or 3 things. Bueno. Okay. So now I'm going to have you put your list down. Come back to if sitting is okay for you for sitting practice. If you need to stand or lie down, that's fine. There is something about sitting that allows us to be a little more attentive to the practice than lying down, but you do you. So for this practice, you will want your pillow. Okay. And we're going to build on our last practice with our pillow. Can't see mine, but it's here. Good. Okay, so you can place it kind of wherever you want. I really love, it just feels so nice and around my front body. But if you're feeling like, check it out. See if you want some extra cushioning around your back body. Yeah, or sometimes people place it on their head where they just feel like, a little presencing of this cushion, a little extra cushioning here just feels right. So find where it feels right for you to have that little extra cushioning. Yeah. I see some friends trying it out on their head. Cool. Yeah. And you're always welcome to have more than one pillow. I've certainly done this with good 20 pillows before with some clients. Okay. So just check in, see where it feels really supportive. And this is a quality I feel. So I don't want to just project it, but a sense of kind of like nourishing, of protection. Yeah. Okay. So coming back to our first practice where we tuned into that place, whether it was an object or the ground or somewhere on our body that gives us a sense of landing, of ground. Yeah, so we're going to connect back into that vibe of anchoring, of ground, of landing first. So whether it's connecting back to that place in our body where there's that sense of landing or anchoring, touching back to the earth. In your whole body, or as much of you as possible in this moment, resonate with that sense of ground arriving. And as you feel more and more of your body in that sense of arrival, of landing, you might just be aware of the whole shape of you, like the shape of your body. And even what's happening within the shape of your body, those sensations, thoughts, feelings, impulses of action. And just around the outer aspects of the shape of your body is this cushioning, this pillow, placed just where you wanted it to be. So we have this sense of arriving in our body, greeting the sensations and feelings, and this cushioning just around the outer shape of our body. There's both this cushioning and us and this cushioning. And in a moment, I'm going to invite you to take one of those stresses you wrote down on your paper and place it outside of this inner space of you and outside of this cushion, however far away you wish. So it's not residing in you. It's not residing in your most intimate space around you. It's outside of that. And as you allow it to arrive outside of you, outside of your intimate space, just noticing what you notice. Can you feel your body? Can you feel the cushioning, the buffering around your body from this pillow, from this cushion? This pillow that's giving you this cushioning, this space between you and that stress. Yeah. Noticing what you notice in meeting, in greeting this stress with this buffering, with this cushion between you, with this extra support around you. Greeting whatever sensations and feelings, impulses of movement are within your body, saying hello to them. And just perhaps seeing if there's anything that wants to be known now that you have this buffering, this cushion of support. Anything that wants to be known within you or in relation to you in this stressor. Knowing we'll take just another 30 seconds or a minute in this space, in this practice before we transition. And I'll invite you to begin to shift your weight side to side, finding just a gentle rocking, gentle movement from side to side. Allowing this rocking just to support if there's anything inside you that needs to move a bit. It's lingering from that interaction. Making a choice what you want to do with that particular stressor that you placed outside, knowing that we're beginning to come to an end of the practice. So do I want to move it away? Do I want to put it back on my piece of paper? Seeing whatever wants to emerge. And after you've made your choice, beginning to orient back to the space again, to the sounds or the temperature of the room. Eventually letting your eyes orient to the light, to the shape, to the colors of your space. And we'll take a minute or so just to write any response within you. If you want to start with just writing it on your own piece of paper, or if you feel like your response wants to be written into the chat box, you can do that too. Deciding what you want to do with your pillows. So just you might slowly take it off and move a little bit. You might keep it on. It's up to you. Whatever feels right. Taking the next minute or so just to do some writing, some reflection. What was that like for me? What did I notice? What came up?